More horrors. Back with the poor old Commando again. Well, you know I had a flat tire on that back tire, about a month ago, I think it was, that I posted that on there. And about 2 weeks after that, I got another one. I've pulled the nail out. There, right on the corner of that piece of tread is where that nail went in. Anyway, I decided I might as well start saving these things. So I pounded him into the wall right there. Anyway, I went down to the mailbox the other day to check the mail, and as I was coming back, I noticed a pile of sort of sparkly things on the shoulder of the road in front of one of my neighbor's driveways. And anyway, I stopped and I picked up 21 roofing nails of various lengths. Anyway, that had probably fallen off of somebody's work truck or something like that. So it's like, God, no wonder I can't help but getting nails in this bloody thing. Anyway, off comes the tire again. Plug that little hole in the tire that the nail left, and on with this big, huge, heavy-duty tube that I'll put in there. But being heavy-duty or not, it's no match for a nail. Anyway, that's what they had in stock up at the bike shop, so that's what I'll put in. And hopefully, I'm praying that that's the last nail I'll get in any motorcycle tires this summer anyways. But it's frustrating. So, I might as well show you what I got to do to get this off of here. Just take off the nut on each side. You can leave the sprocket on the hub to have a sort of a QD affair. The trouble is it's not really QD because you have to take these little covers off and undo the bolts that are in there to get the wheel off. So you might as well just take the chain off and take the whole wheel off on these older Commandos anyway. So anyhow, I pull the axle out of this side and then the wheel will just come out of there. And I'll find out how many holes are in the old tube. Anyway, let's see what happens. And there's the damage that was done to that old tube, or that new tube that is now old. There's the initial puncture where the nail went through the tire tread and into the tube. And this is what happens after you roll along about 120 feet with that nail sticking through there and grinding against the rim. You get a mess like that. Anyway, I'm not saving that tube. So that's going in the crap heap. Too bad. All right, about 28 degrees here today. We're getting into our summer weather patterns, thank the Lord, because it's been raining for the last 3 weeks here. Solid every day, you know. But anyhow, that was not an easy job stuffing that big heavy-duty tube into that little 410 tire there. Anyway, I got it in. I had a bit of trouble getting the nipple to align properly. I don't tighten these nuts up here. Like they're only finger tight. That way I know I'm not pulling or stretching on the tube. And I got the old clincher in there. Some people don't bother with them, but I figure, well, it's there. The hole is there. Why plug it up with something? I might as well just use it. So anyway, usually I grease my bearings while I've got these wheels off doing the tires, but I'm not going to do it this time because I just had that tire off of there about 3 weeks ago and greased it then, and I'm not doing it again. Anyway, I'm ready to put this thing back on. Maybe I'll be able to. Oh, I could tell you what I do here. When I have a hole in the tire to keep any dirt and grit from going in there, I usually take a little strip of rubber from an old inner tube, a strip about, I don't know, about 1/16 to 1/8 inch wide, depending on the size of the hole, of course. And I put some rubber cement in there, and I just push that piece of rubber tube into the hole, and then I snip it off when I'm done. That way I know the hole is plugged and no dirt or grit can get into there. So anyway, I'll put that tire back in its, or that wheel back in its house again, and maybe we'll get her out for a ride after that. Okay, well, that pretty much wraps up the story on this little one. I did get the old Norton out for a good little ride this afternoon. Went around the Peggy's Cove loop on it. That's about, I don't know, 60 miles or so, or 100 kilometers, give or take a couple. Anyway, funny little story with the 500 or the 550 Honda while I'm at it. The owner came by to pick that up this morning. And anyway, we stood around, talked for about 20 minutes, and finally gets on the bike and goes. Anyway, I listened to him leave. The bike sounded good and everything. And anyways, he's gone probably about 15 minutes, and the phone rang. And there's his name on the phone. I said, "What, already?" So anyways, turned out the bike had just suddenly kind of give up the ghost on him for some reason. And I asked him a few questions, like basically, has it got any gas? Is it rolling over? This kind of stuff. Anyway, he was pretty confused about the whole thing, and I know I'm not blaming it on him because I've been in similar situations myself, and sometimes you just get flustered. And even though this guy is mechanically inclined, it's like he just couldn't think around what to do, I suppose. But anyway, I says, "Well, don't worry." I said, "I'll come up the road in the truck and have a look at it." I said, "If we can't get it going, we'll just bring it back here and figure out what happened to it." So anyhow, I get up there, fiddle around with it a little bit, check fuses, that sort of thing. Turn the gas on reserve, turned the key on, hit the start button, and the engine started. So long story short, he was only out of gas. And that's something that can happen to you when you're flustered and you think you're okay, and you wind up finding out that you didn't have gas at all. The way he was explaining it to me, I thought he'd blown a fuse or something, and there was no power to the ignition circuit on the bike. But anyway, that's how today went. He took the bike, drove off to a service call that he had with it. I followed him part way, turned around and came home, and anyway, I was chatting with him a little bit later on in the day around supper time, and he said, "Oh yeah," he said, I'm embarrassed, and all this stuff. And I said, "Well, don't be embarrassed, because I got a couple of stories I can tell you about things that I've done to myself, because it happens, right?" But anyway, why is the Commando back on the lift again? Well, there's nothing wrong with it. The only reason it's on the lift is because I'm going to give it a good clean up and a polish. So anyway, hopefully I won't get any more nails in my tires this year. 2 was enough for 1 year. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.